So, to start out with, we have a movie review of Transformers: The Last Knight, the fifth Transformers movie, directed by Michael Bay. And it's gonna make a lot of money because that's how that works. But anyway, before I get into the movie, I want to talk to you about my experience of going to see this movie. Now, first of all, this movie opened in the middle of the week. The time we're recording this, it's Wednesday, so today was opening day, but I usually only go to movies opening night, so I went last night, and all the theater chains were having this event called Optimus Prime Time, where if you go to the 7 o'clock 3D showing, like Realty 3D, IMAX 3D, Cinemark XD 3D, you would get a free t-shirt and a free lanyard. Well, if you went to an AMC theater, you got the lanyard. If you went to a Regal or a Cinemark theater, you got a free small popcorn. But I decided to go for the AMC just because it's IMAX 3D, and I had a gift card, so why not? So, as you might be able to see, I'm wearing the Optimus Prime Time t-shirt here. It's pretty cool looking. The weird thing about that is they only had sizes small, medium, and extra large. They had no large for some reason. I thought that was a little weird, but I was gonna get an extra large when I was like, hey, how big are the mediums? And they showed me. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take a medium. That's what I typically wear, but depending on the the design, the style, and the fabric, size can change. But also got this lanyard here. It's really nice. So on the front, you got Optimus Prime with a little sword, and on the back, it's the same design as on the shirt. So that's pretty cool. And so I've got a kind of an interesting story about that before I get into the movie. So I saw this in IMAX 3Ds, which is kind of cool. Supposedly this movie was shot in IMAX 3D, so I figured, hey, this might actually look good for 3D, which, it really didn't. I don't really notice a change with 3D. The 3D, it's better always in the trailers than it is in the movies. The trailers will play before. But anyway, so about halfway through the movie, and, everything's fine, but then suddenly, the right lens on my 3D glasses went black. Just out of the blue, out of black. Just went black, and for a second there, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh fuck, I went blind in my right eye, but no, I took off my 3D glasses, and yeah, the right lens was darker than everybody else, than the other one, and I was like, okay, that's weird. Is anybody else having this issue? And I looked around me, and there was a bunch of other people taking off their glasses and looking at it, and they all had the same problem. So basically, what happened is the 3D went out. The 3D went out, and I didn't know that was possible because, I don't know the exact science of 3D movies in theaters. I just always assumed it was just a 3D version of the film, but apparently, I guess there's some kind of setting in the projection booth or something you turn on, because then it just went to IMAX 2D for a few minutes. So I saw most of the movie in IMAX 3D, but I saw part of it in IMAX 2D, so the 3D went out for a few minutes, but then it came back on, which was weird, and I saw a few people get up and leave the theater. They probably went to go talk to the manager or complain, and I guess enough people complained that after the movie was over, the workers were standing at the door handing out readmission passes, which was kind of I guess if you pay for an IMAX 3D ticket, you expect it to work, so I guess enough people had problems with it, so I'm not complaining. Now I can go see another movie for free, so I will definitely use that. And I guess the AC wasn't on either. I don't know, I didn't really notice it, but anyway, that's just my story about going to see Transformers: The Last Knight, but not even remotely the last movie. So, you want to hear my thoughts? And, the short answer is, it sucked. Yeah, it sucked, that's all. That's the basic part of it. Every movie, 2 and on has been terrible, All they've really done is just make the same movie 5 times, but progressively worse. So, but to preface that, I do like the first one. Most people do. It's a simpler story. The action's less cluttered. The Autobots and the Decepticons look a lot more memorable, and I remember, all the Decepticons and Autobots in the movie. Unlike now, where it's just like, the Autobots look like samurais and knights and dinosaurs. I mean, okay, I know the Dinobots are a thing, but it's just, it's like, aside from Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, all the other ones are basically disposable, so. Anyway, so Mark Wahlberg's in this movie again, like he was in Age of Extinction, and he's a fugitive now. He's helping out. He's helping hide the Autobots in a junkyard because once again the Earth decides the Transformers are all enemies. So they're all refugees now, and Optimus Prime is gone. He hasn't come back since the end of Age of Extinction, where he flew off and be like, "I'ma go get some more Autobots." So, oh my goodness gracious. Sorry about that, my seat lowered for a second there. So, keeping on track with the human characters, Anthony Hopkins is in this movie as well, for some reason. Yeah, he plays a character who is part of this fellowship that has guarded the secrets of the Transformers on Earth for thousands of years. Because, all these movies are trying to retroactively, make it that the Transformers were part of every major event in history. This time around, apparently the Transformers have been around since, or at least they were around, in the medieval ages, and they helped out King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and, apparently Merlin found these Transformers, and they gave him a magical staff, which now everybody is trying to find, and, and they formed a giant, dragon, which I guess, that's kind of cool. It doesn't really look like a Transformer dragon, it just kind of looks like it's made out of toothpicks, but, and Stanley Tucci plays Merlin in this movie. I thought that was kind of weird, considering he was in Age of Extinction, but whatever. And, this is a minor spoiler about Merlin, but, honestly, if you're concerned about spoilers for a Transformers movie, you've been warned. That's all I could say. Apparently, the Witwicky family, which was, Shia LaBeouf's character, in the series, they're all descendants of Merlin, the magician, yeah. Merlin the magician, the same Merlin who helped King Arthur and, apparently knows the Transformers. Yeah, the Witwickies are all descendants, and the new main character, or the new main actress, I'm sorry, played by, I forget the name. Hang on, let me look it up really quickly. She's apparently the last surviving of the Witwickies because, according to this movie, more or less, Shia LaBeouf's character is dead. I'm sorry to spoil that for anybody if you couldn't figure it out by now. But so anybody hoping Shia LaBeouf will be back, it's not gonna happen. Laura Haddock is her name, Laura Haddock, and these movies need your typical tie-in. Attractive female character, and she looked, I think they were just trying to find somebody who looked vaguely Megan Fox-esque, but not quite, and she's got an English accent, she's got that uppity English woman accent, like, "Oh, you stupid American," or, I don't know, that's how English people speak, in my opinion. But, going back to Anthony Hopkins for a second, typically the beginning of these movies, Optimus Prime narrates, but of course he's gone right now, so Anthony Hopkins narrates a little bit towards the beginning, and when I heard his voiceover narration, I expected the Grinch to show up any second, because, he also was a narrator for the live-action Grinch movie, one of my, personal favorite Christmas movies. I like the animated too, but, the live-action's a classic to me. We all have our opinions. But, even though Anthony Hopkins seems a little out of place in a movie like this, it was good to have him around. He's a great actor. He's been in some great films, most notably, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, probably his most famous role. But, there's this kid character named Isabella, which if you've seen the trailers, you've heard of her, or at least seen her, and, only the, most useless character in the whole movie. Just totally useless. Does nothing essential to the movie whatsoever. All she is some chick who just hangs around Mark Wahlberg, and then they get rid of her for a while because Mark Wahlberg and Bumblebee go off somewhere, and yeah, she really does nothing essential. You could just cut her out of the whole movie or left her at the very beginning, and I don't think anything would have changed, but whatever. Chances are we might see her again. I don't know. So yeah, let's talk about the Transformers, the part that everybody comes to these movies for, but ends up getting a trove of human characters. So Optimus Prime, the big poster child for these movies is the one that gets all the screen time and the trailers and all the posters. He's barely in this movie. Yeah, he's in a couple of scenes. Couple of very short scenes at the beginning, and then he comes back towards the beginning of the third act, and then he just kind of pops in and out, and he really is not in this movie very much, which is kind of strange because Optimus Prime is like the most memorable of these, and he's one of the best parts of these movies because it's just fun to see Optimus Prime kick ass, but and he's evil now too. At the beginning of the movie, he goes to apparently what's left of Cybertron, because apparently that's still around, and he runs into this Quintessa villain. She looks like some tentacle, Ghost in the Shell, Transformer hybrid thing, and apparently she's a goddess to these characters, and she turns Optimus Prime evil and is like, you gotta go down there and help destroy the Earth so we can build Cybertron again, like we've been trying for 5 fucking movies now, but we're gonna do it again anyway. And of course, Optimus Prime comes into her control, and he does it. And Quintessa is gotta be one of the most underdeveloped villains I've ever frickin' seen. I mean, she's just there in those couple scenes at the beginning of the movie with Optimus Prime, and I guess she's evil. I mean, I don't know, but we still got Megatron, because Megatron's back, and he looks like total shit, just like everybody, like all the other characters do now, because Michael Bay decided to drastically redesign everybody last movie, and they all look like crap and look like junk that's painted a little bit. And, all the new Decepticon characters are disposable. They're literally disposed of, like, the scene after they're introduced. I'm not even going to get into those because it's not worth it. So yeah, and the evil Optimus Prime part it's not even that big. It's like Optimus Prime, he was shown to be, like, the villain of the movie, but he's not. I mean, he has one evil moment where he comes to Earth and fights Bumblebee like he does in the trailers, but then he snaps out of him and be like, oh yeah, I'm Optimus Prime, I'm not Nemesis Prime. That's literally what he calls himself when he's evil. I'm not Nemesis Prime. Hey Autobots, come here, let's go defeat this bitch. And that's all she wrote. And one more thing I wanted to mention, as far as characters are concerned, is there is a cameo by Simmons, the Sector 7 agent, who, everybody just wanted to see so desperately. At the beginning of the movie, I thought they showed him in Costa Rica, and I thought it was just going to be one tiny cameo. When he popped up the screen, I was like, God damn it. I was like, okay, that must be just a goofy little cameo in there. But no, he's in there a few more times. He's in contact with Anthony Hopkins' character a few times. And that's really it. I mean, he's just like that Isabella character. You could have just taken him out of the movie or replaced him with somebody else, and nobody would care. It wouldn't make a big difference, so I don't know. I will always remember him as his character of Jesus in The Big Lebowski. Jesus will fuck you up! That's not a very good impression, but I tried. So, going back to the retroactively making Transformers part of human history, apparently every major figure, or just every important human being ever, was involved in this fellowship to keep the Transformers a secret, including characters like, or people like Harriet Tubman. I'm like, why does Harriet Tubman need to know about the Transformers? I mean, was she using an actual Underground Railroad that was an Autobot or something? I don't know. And of course, like I said earlier about the staff of Merlin, it's another generic Transformer artifact doodad that everybody's after to destroy the planet or keep it out of wrong hands, and yeah, just to do the same old shit. I just got a feeling that the Transformers, they all have like this list of artifacts they're going off, like, alright, we took care of the Allspark, Matrix leadership, the pillars, yada yada. Like, what's next? I can't wait to see what happens in Transformers 6. They gotta find like a dirty baseball that has the power to destroy Megatron and stuff. I don't fucking know. So yeah, I will give this movie credit though, for not having the final battle of this movie be in a major city or in the middle of the desert. So towards the end of the movie, what's left of Cybertron comes back to Earth, where Optimus Prime shows up, and they bring the battle back up there. So, no buildings getting toppled over, no major explosions, and I think the action was kind of toned down, as far as the final battle is concerned, but, yeah, I will give it credit for doing something different, but I would have loved to see a Transformers space battle, but, whatever. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's Michael Bay's philosophy, basically. A lot of people complain about Michael Bay and, how he clearly just doesn't give a fuck, because he doesn't do anything to improve the quality of these movies. But, I think on the one hand, you gotta respect Michael Bay for doing that, these movies get trashed by critics, but they make a ton of money at the box office, so he's not gonna go and change. He's not gonna change for anybody. He won't budge. It's like he's gonna do what he wants. He's not gonna let anybody tell him differently. So I think that's a respectable quality in a director. But if we could get a well written and well produced movie, that'd be great. But whatever. So this movie's gonna make $1 billion at the box office like the last two, and we're gonna get the Bumblebee spin-off movie and Transformers 6, and it's just gonna keep going. Speaking of Bumblebee for a second, apparently it's revealed that Bumblebee was around in the 40s and he fought Nazis. Yeah, Bumblebee fought Nazis. What do you know that? Would you look at that? Which I guess they had to include because they're making the Bumblebee spin-off movie, which comes out next year, and it's going to be set in the 80s, so they have to show that Bumblebee's been around for a while, which I always figured he came to Earth like right before the first movie started to find the Allspark, which is kind of which is how the tie-in video games worked in too. Granted, the tie-in games are not canon; those are just things to get a quick buck in. But if you want a good Transformers movie game, check out Transformers Autobots for Nintendo DS. It's really great. No human characters. You play as your own Autobot. You can play as the other ones. It's some free roam. It's a good time. I recommend checking it out. So, in conclusion, if you just want to see the usual crap, Transformers blowing shit up, fighting, Michael Bay explosions, if you just want to see that, or you're just a big fan of these series, you don't care about story or anything that else makes a good movie, go check this out. Anything I say or anything anybody else is gonna say is gonna change your mind. If you like Michael Bay, go see this movie. You'll like it. But if you're like me and you lost interest in this series a long time ago, you're probably not gonna want to check it out. But there's a couple tiny things in this movie I'd maybe want to see again. But I'm not gonna go see this movie in the theater again, and I'm not gonna buy the Blu-ray when it comes out. Well, I'm not gonna buy it brand new. Maybe if I see it cheap, like Black Friday or something, maybe. But yeah, I'm not gonna give a letter grade for this. I'm not gonna do letter grades anymore like I used to, cause you know what? If you want to hear my opinions, you're gonna listen to them. God damn it.